What's up, guys? It's Ditch. I hope you guys have had an amazing week. This is episode 3 of Change is a Choice, my new podcast. Thank you for tuning in to everyone and anyone out there. If you've listened to the first and second episode and you're here on the third one, I am very, very, very grateful from the bottom of my heart. It means a lot that even anybody is really listening and cares what I have to say, let alone wants to hear about my story, where I'm coming from, why I do what I do, and why I make the music that I make. So I just want to extend my gratitude to everyone out there. The other thing is I've got new music coming this Friday. It's called I Am Who I Am, produced by my boy Miles Above. Shout out to him. He and I have known each other for so many years. He's one of my go-to producers, and this is a special one. It's all about identity and knowing who you are, and staying true to that and never sacrificing your soul or your character. So I'm going to be posting the pre-save. It's going to be out today, and you guys can pre-save if you guys want to support. If not, make sure you go listen when it drops on Friday. Side note, we got Utopia coming on Friday as well, so I'm super excited about that. I'm a fan of Travis Scott's music. In particular, I'm a really, really big fan of his mixing, his engineering, his mixing, his production team. So I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous with the rollout right now, but fingers crossed it's gonna be just as great as Astro World. So I'm excited for that. So, and I'm sure you guys are too. The other thing is this weekend I'm going to be going to visit with my parents. I'm going to go visit the treatment center that I spent about 2.5 years at. I really hate calling it a treatment center because it's not really a treatment center. This place is a special place and it's dear to me in my heart. And it became a home for me. I really did a lot of growing up there and learning. I learned how to be a man at this ranch. It was a ranch, by the way, I should say. It was a ranch treatment, like boarding school, work study kind of thing. It was a very unique experience. Excuse me. And the people, my therapist at the ranch, he was the owner of the program. His parents owned the ranch, and so this is literally where he grew up and where that family lives. And so, like, his parents were staff there, and we used to help them on their ranch all day long. And while we would have therapy, we would do group, we would do individual. We had therapy packets, assignments. Everybody had their own, treatment plan is what it's called. And this place became my home because Los Angeles really wasn't working for me at the time. And I'll delve into that in another time, in more detail. But at the time, growing up, I was about 15 or so, going on 16. LA wasn't going to work for me. So I went and did this like work study therapy ranch kind of thing. And it really was a one-of-a-kind experience, let me put it that way. And yet a lot of times it was uncomfortable, but growth is uncomfortable. And that's something I learned there. And, one of my favorite analogies that I learned from my therapist there is that change is like a tree. Growth is like a tree, I should say. Not change. Growth is like a tree. But change and growth are very, synonymous. But growth is like a tree in a sense that you're not going to look at a tree grow. You can't watch the tree grow, but it's growing. And you're not going to ungrow a tree. You're not going to make it grow backwards, right? It's not going to stop growing either, but it doesn't look like it's growing. And it's the exact same thing with human growth. You're always growing. It doesn't look like you're growing. A lot of times you can't see it. But you're never going to go backwards. It doesn't, if you mess up in life, if you make a mistake or whatever, it doesn't mean now all the growth that you've made and the progress that you've made in life now goes away. You always keep moving forward, and that's the growth mindset. You can't go backwards. But I love the tree analogy because it's so true. And, you reap what you sow in life. Those are very ranch like mottos. We would talk about that kind of stuff all the time there because there's a lot of trees and we do a lot of farming, and taking care of animals. So, and that was another thing for a city boy. It's like coming from LA and then going to milking cows and feeding cattle and riding horses and that kind of stuff, and taking care of hay and feed, and just learning what it takes to really to really make food become food in the grocery stores and things like that. You can't, milk comes from the cows. It doesn't come from Vaughn's and Ralph's. So it's, it was a very unique experience, and I learned a lot. And my therapist there, his name was Luke Hatch. He became, like I said, he's the owner of the program, but I was also blessed to have him as my therapist. He became a father figure to me. I mean, I really learned so much from this man. I learned how to be a man from this guy, and he really helped teach me what's important in life, and more importantly, he gave me a lot of these tools, because that's what to use in life, tools to use in life, because that's what he did. I mean, that's what therapists do. If a great therapist does, at least, is they give you the best toolbox for you to use in your life, and hopefully you take that and you use those tools that they've taught you. So I'm going back there to visit with my parents, because my parents and I in the last 6 months have really, really, really grown closer than we've ever been. It's a really special thing for me, because we've had our differences, and to say the least, and there was a time where we weren't in each other's lives for a very long time, and that broke my heart in a way that I could never just explain to anybody. But as you can imagine, feeling like I wasn't in my parents' life and they weren't in mine was a devastating feeling. It was miserable, and it felt like I was defeated. And the last 6 months since I've moved back home to Los Angeles, because I haven't lived here since I went to the ranch. When I was at the ranch, I graduated high school at the ranch. I went straight to college. I lived 3 years in Utah, and then I dropped out of college and lived 3 years in Portland, basically all of COVID in Portland, and then I just moved back down here to Los Angeles about 6 months ago. So my parents and I, I hadn't been home. We didn't have time to really have any time to work on a relationship long term. We're gonna go back to the ranch together. This is our first family trip together, in God knows how long, and we're gonna go back to the ranch and visit, and because the ranch is like family to me, to us, and there's kids there that also need to hear the message and see the result from people like us who have been through the progress, who have who have been through the program, and we know what it takes to make that progress. So it's all about giving back, It's all about giving back, and paying it forward, as my dad would say. So I'm super excited to go back. It's out for y'all to have, for you guys to have a little bit of an idea of kind of how in the middle of nowhere this is. It's out by Area 51. So we're flying to Vegas Friday, gonna go drive out to Area 51 area, and that's where they all live. There's a lot of ranches out there, small towns and ranches. So my parents and I are gonna go visit there, and it's an absolute blessing to be able to have a relationship with my parents as an adult now, and to still have them in my life, and to still have to still be in their life, and also for all of us to be vulnerable enough to open up and to choose to trust each other, to get to know the new me, the new dad, the new mom, everybody's getting to know the new person that we've all become, because it's been a very long time since we've all lived in the same city, let alone, really been a family together. So I'm just grateful to the universe that my parents are willing to do the work, and that I'm also grateful to the universe that I've been built with the strength to keep pushing, and to be that force that has kind of pushed us over the hill, because you guys know, it's as you can tell, I should say, what I do is I inspire. What I do is I help push people to that next level, because I love them, because I care about every human being, and I want to help everybody get to that next level, because I feel like it's my calling. So as you can imagine, of course, I did it with my parents, and now they thank me for pushing us to the next level, because they were scared to, and I understand that. But now we're all back in each other's lives, and we get to have a relationship with each other, and it's growing. And I'm excited to see where this goes, because a parent and a child always, 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 always need to make that relationship a priority on both ends. Your parents, man, they're the most important thing in the world, and you got to make sure that you make them a priority and you treat them like that, because they are that important. So I'm grateful to my mom, and I'm grateful to my dad, and I'm also grateful to my birth mom and my birth dad, who both put me up for adoption, and they weren't thinking about themselves. They were thinking about me and my life, and they wanted me to have a better chance at a better future, and I got that, and I'm eternally grateful for that. So this weekend is a really, really emotional and happy and joyful weekend, and I'm super excited to be going back to the ranch. Now, something I kind of wanted to share with you guys. Speaking of the ranch, this is where I learned this from. The ranch was based on a behavioral model, and it's called the stages of change model, behavioral theory. And essentially, you could go more in depth, but essentially there's about four stages or so in the stages of change. You have pre-contemplation, contemplation, action, and maintenance. So the program I was at, this ranch, was based on this stages of change behavioral theory model. So there were 4 levels in the program. Every level was based on those 4 stages of change. So the first level was Badger, which pre-contemplation. Second level was Coyote, contemplation. Third level was Wolf, action. And fourth level was Lion, maintenance. So the whole idea of the program was to teach you how to choose change in your life, because it's a never-ending process. We're always looking. We always have room to grow, and we should always, in my opinion, we should always be seeking to grow. And that's what this behavioral theory kind of teaches you, is that with every habit you change, with every mindset you want to change, with anything that you're doing that is related to change, this theory applies, and we all go through it. And the more aware we are of these stages, the more intentional we can be with what we do to move through these stages, and how we live our life, and what we choose to change. Because change is a choice. That's why this podcast is called Change is a Choice. Because this has become such a deep and meaningful part of my life, to realize that I can choose to change. I can choose to think differently. I can choose to live differently. I can choose to be whoever I want to be. And I choose to be my true self, my true and authentic self. And so, pre-contemplation, Badger phase, you don't even want to change. You're not even, again, pre-contemplation, you're not even contemplating change. You don't think you need to change. There's no reason, all that jazz. Contemplation, Coyote, you're like, all right, I have some changes. I know I need to make some changes, and I want to make them, but I don't really know how to make them. Wolf is action. You know the changes you want to make, and you know how to make them, and you're making them. And then lastly, fourth is Lion, which is maintenance. You continue to maintain those changes. You continue to maintain them, and you tune yourself up, and you make sure you're introspective and you're self-aware. So the reason I share this with everybody out there is because it can help you guys. It can help you guys. You can apply this to anything in your life, and it will help you improve whatever it is that you are wanting to work on in your life. I've used this now for years, this model, and I use it all the time I use it currently for the goals I'm working on, and it works. And it's proven it works. There's a reason that that whole program is based on that theory, that behavioral theory model. So some food for thought for you guys to digest. The stages of change, behavioral theory model. The other thing is in relation to that, I just want to remind everybody, life is a journey. It's not about where you're getting to. Especially in today's society, they're like, the culture wants you to believe that, you need to be famous. You need to have clout. If you're not, if you're not an influencer, you're not good enough. None of that stuff matters. What matters is if you're tuned into your true self and you know that you're walking the path that was meant for you in life. Okay? One of my favorite poems is The Road Less Traveled by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Taking the road less traveled is all about being on the journey in life, experiencing life, seeking new experiences, not seeking a destination, not seeking something external, not trying to get something, not trying to get somewhere. So I encourage everybody to remind yourself that this life is a journey. And I also encourage you to ask yourself what it is that you want to do on your life journey. I know for me, I want to live my purpose that I know in my being is my calling from the universe, which is to inspire people to choose change in life through my music and through my voice. That's what I believe my calling is here on earth. That's what I believe my purpose is. And that's what I choose to believe, and that's how I choose to live my life. Most people don't have this conversation with themselves, and they go with the flow of any river in life, and then they're lost and they lose themselves. And a lot of people are also willing to sell their souls. But again, there's no destination. It's not about getting money or this or that or whatever. It's about being tuned in to your true self and living your life path that you know is true for you. So I encourage everybody to if you have a passion, if you have a dream, if you forgot what your dream was when you were younger, like what did you want to be when you grew up? If you're not that, ask yourself, why are you not that? When I was 10 years old, I wanted to be a musician. I am a musician today. It's not about, do I make full-time income? I do not make full-time income off of music, let me tell you. But this is my passion. Okay? This is what I do. This is what my calling is. This is what my purpose is. Okay? Eventually, I will be able to make full-time financially, fund myself. Trying to say is financially fund myself full-time off of the music. But it's not about that. It's about being on this journey that I'm on, of being a musician. So I encourage you guys, if you have a dream, if you have, a passion or any of those things, go do it or go find it. Go take an art class, go take a pottery class, go do yoga, go join a club, a group, I don't know, go find new passions. But if you already have one, you deserve to follow your passion. So allow yourself to be in that. If you love to paint, pick up the paintbrush and go paint something. If you like to write, pick up the pencil and go write something. If you like to build, go get some tools and get a project together and build something. It's about being on that journey and allowing yourself to be in that moment, in the here and now. So, in reference to last week's podcast, I just wanted to say as well that, again, I really, really, really appreciate anyone and everyone who has been listening. It took me a long time to really get these podcasts going, in the sense that it was really hard for me to open up and be vulnerable and share some of those things with the world. Even though I knew deep down it's my paranoia that I'm projecting into the world, and nobody cares. The world doesn't care if you deserve it. Don't be entitled. Shout out to Russ. That's a Russ quote. It's like, the world doesn't care. You know, the world doesn't care if I think I deserve it, or they don't care if I deserve it. There's nobody's thinking that. It's not about, the world doesn't care. It's about whether I believe I deserve it and whether I choose to open up. Back again to the whole change is a choice concept. So again, you know, like, I really appreciate from the bottom of my heart how, you guys listening, supporting, being non-judgmental, and allowing me to inspire you guys. Whenever you go through a process, a situation in life where someone falsely accuses you of anything and your reputation is questioned and your character is questioned and all these things, regardless of what the specifics of that event are, it's assuming you make it out on the other end and you are cleared of all of these allegations that are being made against you. It's one hell of a process to go through, let me tell you. And it can feel like you don't know how to put the pieces back together because you're so terrified. I was so terrified that the world was never going to see me for who I am. And instead they were always going to see me for what they wanted to paint me out as. Just like what had happened to me growing up. And so that's why, you know, that's why it means so much to me from the bottom of my heart that you guys support me for who I am. And that's why this week's song is called I Am Who I Am. Because I am who I am. And I love me, I respect me, and I care about me enough to put myself through uncomfortable situations because I know that being uncomfortable is what's required for growth. And I choose to grow because change is a choice. So thank you to everyone out there for listening to the 3rd episode of my new podcast. Please comment anything you want to comment about the video, about anything I said in the video. If you want to open up any discussions, if you want to DM me privately and, you know, talk about anything, I can talk to you guys privately as well. I'd love to be a source of light for you guys in any way that I can. So please do engage and interact as a means of supporting and as a means of interacting with me, and so I can interact with you guys. So like I said, I'm visiting my ranch this weekend, my home, my second home ranch this weekend with my parents. Very